From White Plains Community Media in White Plains, New York, this is Progressive News Network, Voices from the Grassroots of Westchester. For those of you who may not have heard of Progressive News Network or PNN, we are a grassroots media network that covers issues of interest to diverse working class communities here in Westchester County, and we particularly highlight the work of activists and advocates who are working to make their lives better. And today our guest is Delia Marx from the Westchester Cooperative Network. Welcome, Delia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Delia, what is the Westchester Cooperative Network, and how did the organization get started, and how are you going about your work?
Well, the Westchester Cooperative Network is a non-for-profit, small organization that was co-founded by myself and Nada Kader in 2021. Our work evolved into realizing that there is a gap between the general public and the organizations that would support the worker cooperatives. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that our main mission is to support and promote the formation of worker cooperatives in Westchester County and surrounding areas. So what are worker-owned cooperatives? These are businesses that are owned and managed democratically by their workers. So, as I was saying before, we realize that most of the people, the general public, does not have an idea of what worker cooperatives are all about. So we see ourselves educating the public, reaching out to several organizations and communities in the area that would invite us, for instance, to do a Co-op 101 presentation. We participate in events. We try to really spread the idea of what this is all about and what opportunities it offers to people that otherwise would not have access to ownership. So we also act as a kind of a network, because sometimes people come to us and want to really learn further. And in that case, what we do is we share a lot of information that is out there and resources that are out there. And when they are really ready to take the next step, we connect them with organizations that would provide the step-by-step support in the entire process. So we were really surprised at the number of nonprofit organizations that are willing to do that work in support of the cooperative movement.
And so these are partner organizations that help give business advice and strategic planning, and also funding, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Basically, there are two ways that a worker cooperative can be formed. On one side, you have what is called a startup. A startup is when a group of people have a business idea and they decide to come together to try to follow through. There are these organizations that are called incubators, which actually incubate, namely help form a worker cooperative. So when that happens, they not only need to resolve all the business side of a new business, because let's remember, it's a business. So they need to learn how to do a budget, how to do a financial plan, how to do marketing and all that stuff. But in addition to that, they need to learn how to work together and how to make it work. And usually, actually, that's a recommendation, the strong recommendation, is to have the rules written up. And this is what is called the bylaws. So what kind of rules do you need? Well, you need to decide how you are going to be managing the business. Is this going to be a group of people that are going to be like a committee, or is there going to be decisions made by all the workers at the same time? What kind of decisions are going to be made by whom? How are these decisions made? Do you need a majority vote, or do you need everybody agreeing? Or how are you going to be distributing the profits, right? Are you going to distribute everything that comes into the workers, or are you going to save some for the business itself, reinvesting in the business? So all these kinds of decisions need to be made. And so the bylaws are going to establish the framework on which the internal management of the business is going to go through. So that's a startup. And there you have incubators. And we work very closely with an organization that is called Co-op Hudson Valley. And they are the incubators. So once a group of people comes to us that want to take the next step, we refer them out to Co-op Hudson Valley. On the other side, there's another way of forming a worker cooperative, and that is through what is called a conversion. So a conversion is a business whose owner, for whatever reason, wants to retire. So most owners are not aware that there is this alternative to exit planning that involves, instead of selling to an equity firm or closing up, you can sell it to your employees, who then in turn would form a worker cooperative. So there are organizations that would follow through in every step of the procedure to get the transition done. So yes, what organizations are around? As a matter of fact, it's very interesting to notice that there is a partnership of organizations called the NETI, which is the Northeastern Transition Initiative. I'm doing a fellowship with them, and so I'm connected with these organizations. One of them is CDI, which is the Cooperative Development Institute. Another one is the ICA group. And both of them would follow through one step at a time in the whole process. They would advise the owner, do a financial analysis of the business, see how much it's worth, how are the workers involved, and they train also the workers, and even they follow through after the transition is done for a couple of years to make sure that the business is doing well. You asked me about financing. Yes, on the startup side, the organization that I mentioned, Co-op Hudson Valley, is part of what is called the Seed Commons. Seed Commons is a cooperative of cooperatives that provides what is called non-extractive loans. What is that?
Yeah, what is non-extractive? What does that mean?
Well, what that means is that the borrower doesn't pay back the loan until the borrower is ready to do so. Mm-hmm. So that's a very different concept.
Right, because the lender really is trying to promote the expansion of cooperatives, right? So
Exactly.
they're willing to be more patient about getting the interest rate back and so forth.
Exactly. And they are not going to, excuse me, they're not going to get richer from the transaction. So they're not going to extract wealth
Yeah.
from the borrower.
So, I mean, this is an exciting thing that you're saying because there are sources of loans and capital to help the workers buy the businesses from a retiring owner where that business might otherwise be sold, it might go out of business, they might strip the assets and the jobs would be lost to the community. So there's a lot of benefits to this, right, to the workers and the community.
Absolutely. On the side of the conversions, there is this, there is this other organization, it's called the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast, which helps it's a lender, but not only that, they help to do a package. Most of the times in the conversions, the selling owner is also lending part of the value to their to the workers. You know, I mean, how would you pretend someone else to invest if you are not willing to invest yourself, right?
Right.
So creating this package of a variety of lenders, which includes, you know, the owner himself, the CFNE, which is the fund, and other institutions as well. So yes, there is financing available for sure.
Excellent. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at a case study, a successful case study of a transition that took place in our area. This is a little video about a company called Green Mountain Graphics that makes signs for businesses in New York City and around our region. And the owner of that business was thinking of retiring, and for him, selling the business to his employees made a lot of sense. And so take a look now at this video about the transition experience of Green Mountain Graphics, and then we'll be back right after that.
We're essentially a graphics company. Our main market is signage. Within signage, we are architectural sign company, mostly servicing buildings, largely in Manhattan, but not exclusively. So any kind of a sign that would go in any kind of a building, we're there. I actually bought the company from my parents in 1992. I was the owner for 30 years through various ups and downs. Over that time, we had the good fortune to assemble a good team of people.
In high school, I was doing a business major, and they said I had to find an internship. And every time I thought I was getting closer to taking a next step somewhere else, something would happen here that would just keep me here. And here we are in the co-op now.
I started back in high school. I think I was in 12th grade. I just helped out the finance department, like filing from office assistant. I went to be one of the sales rep.
At the time when I was roughly 68 years old, and I'm currently 71, I started thinking about retirement. And I sort of set a target for myself of 70 and started looking into what are my options. And somehow I stumbled across the idea, I don't really remember how, of employee ownership. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me.
We started working with Green Mountain Graphics, I believe, in 2019. And we initially connected with Eric, who was kind of ready to retire, thinking about his options, and was really excited about the idea of handing things over to his employees.
I didn't know such a concept could exist, or that anyone was part of a co-op.
My first reaction was like, how is that gonna work? Yeah, because multiple owners, a lot of ideas. I was just, I guess, questioning in a way.
It was not a contentious process, but not a smooth runway. You know, the landing had a few bumps in it. And because of that, it ended up being a lot about, well, do you trust what's going on here? Do you trust this process? Do you trust our consultants?
We came into this situation not knowing them, not knowing the company. We had to get to know them very quickly. I am super appreciative that they were able to build a relationship with us in that way.
There's a bigger satisfaction in seeing a project from start to end and knowing that you took control of that project, or you spoke to the client to make everything work out, and you solved that big problem that you would have once given to your former boss.
It has been rewarding financially and personally. Financially, the profits obviously help. And personally, I feel like it made me grow as a person. I've learned a lot of skills as an owner.
It comes down to their buying into this whole concept of, hey, we're all in it together. It is cooperative ownership. Let's function on the cooperative. And in the end of the day, we're all doing this to make it better.
So we're back, and thank you. We're going to ask Delia, what is that drew you personally to this work? How did you become involved in work, promoting worker cooperatives?
Well, I was born in Argentina, and the Argentinian experience, they have a quite established tradition of cooperativism in Argentina, but especially during the 2001-2002 economic collapse, where banks were closed. I don't know if you saw pictures of people banging on the doors of the banks, where there was no money, no currency to be had. So the whole economy was done through barter, and neighborhood assemblies were making the decisions as to what is going to be going on locally. But not only that, a lot of firms, factories and businesses were closing and going bankrupt. And the workers would take over the business, and they would start realizing that they can manage it themselves, without the boss, And so, given that they kind of understood what a cooperative was, they were actually able to do that. And so that idea of relying to your, to your community, doing things together with your peers, really is very inspiring to me. And so, so that's it.
Well, yeah, so I think as we saw in the video, the workers in these companies have a lot of knowledge already about how the business runs. And so the idea that they could maybe have a better voice in running the business, a more democratic structure, is good for them because they can contribute insights and ideas to how the business is run. But from what you were saying earlier, it doesn't necessarily involve getting rid of all management, right? You could still empower a manager for different functions in the co-op.
Of course, absolutely, yes. It also, there is this myth that everybody has to earn the same amount of money. No, I mean, those that work more are going to earn more. And that's part of the decision-making process that needs to be established so that everyone understands what are the rules of the game. And so, yes, absolutely.
And in our area, so the idea of doing transitions is attractive also because there's a lot of businesses in need of a transition, right? There's some 200,000 businesses in New England and New York where the owner is retiring in the next few years, and only 17% have an exit plan. Only 1 out of 5 have, thought of what they're going to do with the business.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
called the silver tsunami. I don't know if you heard that expression, but the baby boomers generation at this time is having a lot of silver in their hair.
Yeah.
So, it's a big generation, and many of them are business owners.
And the children of these baby boomers, they don't always want to take over the business as much as the parents might like that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, a lot of owners would like to keep also the legacy of their business. They are, emotionally involved in that. And this is a way of doing that. So it's not just that the owners benefit through getting a fair price, a fair market price for their business. They also benefit because if they want to keep on working, they can do so.
So they can make a gradual exit,
Absolutely.
so work 50% as much time and then 25% and so on.
It's all up to them to negotiate. It's open book.
Yeah. So I know on the Cooperative Development Institute website, there are many successful case stories and videos about other transitions similar to Green Mountain Graphics. And there are lots of different types of companies like landscaping businesses and pickle factory. So this is a model is applicable to a wide range of different types of businesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, as you were saying earlier, there's lots of financial support and technical assistance. So,
Yes.
if there's a business owner who's watching this or a group of people who want to start an employee cooperative, how could they take the next step? What would be involved?
Well, the first step would be to get in touch with us. We can share a lot of information, a lot of resources. My email address is Delia, Delia, at westchestercooperative.net. And that's also our website. Our website is westchestercooperative.net. You can call me. My number is 914-418-4058. We also send out a newsletter. We have every couple of months a mixer. So that is in person. You will realize that meetings in person are much more meaningful and lasting than the virtual ones. So we organize that once every couple of months. We usually have an invited speaker. Last time we had a woman that just was in Mondragon, which is this town that is all cooperative town in the Basque area of Spain. And we're having our next mixer in January after the holidays. And we're hoping that there we're going to have an expert on solidarity economy to come and explain to us exactly what that is all about and how we can apply that to our reality.
So, and solidarity economy is things like credit unions and consumer cooperatives as
Of
well as
course.
worker cooperatives? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's, he's going to explain about the virtual in terms of virtue, virtual chain versus the other one. But he's going to be much better equipped to explain that than I am.
Do you think there's a challenge in the United States that culturally we've been used to a different, more materialistic, sort of capitalistic model here?
Definitely, and very individualistic and competitive. And so, we talk about entrepreneurship and usually think of a single person. And that's not necessarily the case. You can have a group of people that share not only the profits, but also the responsibilities and sometimes the loss.
Yeah. And what are the benefits of having a more democratic decision-making model in the workplace?
Well, democracy is not easy. We know that. But it's that people with different skills come together And the sum of those skills make a much interesting and resourceful whole than a single person.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we undervalue the contributions of workers in the American economic model. I mean, often the CEO is paid 800, 1,000 times more than the entry-level worker, but the business couldn't run without the workers, right?
Absolutely. Well, there is a statistics that indicates that in a cooperative, the relationship between the best paid and the lowest paid is 2 to 1, and not 350 to 1 like it is the case in the more conventional
And some of the companies that worker-owned cooperatives, the workers are quite happy about what's happened, right? And after they get the co-op up and running.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
They become owners of their time. They become owners of their means to support themselves. They can create wealth for themselves and for the family. And this is mostly impactful in so many areas of Westchester County that, Westchester has this reputation of being the rich county in New York. But there are large areas of poverty, of lack of access to good jobs, of food deserts, and for those communities, it is really impactful.
Yeah, so this model can help. So thank you. We've been talking to Delia Marx of the Westchester Cooperative Network. If you want to get in touch with Delia, her website is at westchestercooperative.net, 914-418-4058. That's all for today. Thank you for tuning in to Progressive News Network.